Hi Bonnie, I'm making you a little video. Yeah, of course I'm taking into account. Then I noted the earthquake that struck over here. I made a video about it yesterday. It's near the elbow position of quarter 2. Right over here. And I provided the reason why. You see this deep quake? 5.5. So just watch and see. Just watch the way that they go. Remember that we're going backwards in time. So you see the big quake? You see this quake that came just before it? What were they, about 6 hours apart? And you see the depth on this quake? 573. And the depth on this quake? 257. So what you had was a big explosion that took place down in Earth mantle transition zone inside the magma plume formation. It's like this. You get that sudden expansion. So there's a horn formation here. So that shock wave that came from this goes right up that horn and pushes it up and triggers this quake. This is going to be an extra quake in the series. Now let me show you something else. I may be using this later, this little thing that I'm showing you here, in a presentation. Because this is what it looks like. Now watch real closely at remember that my quake is supposed to strike right there. And let's look, because there's a wave that's coming this way, and there's a wave that's coming this way, and there's a wave that's coming this way. Two of them, 3 and 1, are converging right here. Okay, so let's watch. Just watch with me. Right here. Let's go back in time. Remember that these are the ones that just struck, that one at the 69-kilometer depth. Look how close it is to our location. See the one that struck over here at 555? You see how they just struck right there. The one that came just before that was right here, 507. And then go back in time. See if I can get between these quakes right here. This one here struck at 352. This one here struck at 145. We're going back in time now. You see how these are getting further away? This one here struck. One didn't strike over the ear. There's another one at 10 kilometers over there. So this one right here struck at 10 kilometers. We're going back in time. The wave's coming from up from this way. Now watch. You see this one that struck at 10-kilometer depth? The wave's coming from this way. The wave already passed through there. It's on its way going right towards New Guinea, right over there. You can see it over here on this side too. Watch. See this one that struck at 30? The wave from quarter 4 is coming this way. See this one that struck at the 10-kilometer depth? The wave's coming this way. As you go further back in time, you're getting hit further and further away because the wave is converging. It's happening right now. And where the convergence area is the center of the origination zone, because the terminal ends are all tested. The energy is coming back into this direction. So we're not out of the woods. Right in the center of where all this activity is taking place. Oh, there's something else that I want to show you too. Hold on just a second. I'm going to pull up this image. Now check this out. Do you realize what you're looking at here? This is the sun and the moon. Earth's rotating around, and the sun and the solar influence and the moon influence because of the way that we're rotating in our position. You can see that they're on here right now. See, this has moved away now. This is always moving because Earth is rotating this way, and it's shifting, going up and down. Equinox, solstice at the top, 23.5 degrees. So this was what was caught last night, this screenshot, whenever the moon sun influence was passing right across this region. And this is where you see the two quakes that are on either side. And this is where the convergence was at 9 o'clock last night. And right here, right there, are the coordinates, my prediction coordinates for where the quake's going to strike. So this line right here that you now see is up there was it passed right through this area on Earth. It just seems amazing to me. That is such a coincidence. And I was really tired and not wanting to do any more work, but came out and just pulled up the Earthquake 3D and took a screenshot. And this is where the sun and the Earth, the sun and the moon were at that moment. And then the next interesting thing, got some more. I got another image here. That's the wrong one. So there's my coordinates right there. This was from just previous. Check out this here formation that's right here. It looks kind of odd underneath. It almost looks like, I mean, there is a definite structure there, but it just looks kind of funny in that my coordinates are right under the lip of it right here, right where you see the darker area, as if there's some erosion that took place there. Here's the little island. This is the little baby island, and this is where my prediction is, between these two islands right here. This is obviously Papua New Guinea. So I just wanted to show that to you. This is not, I'm not going to make a video out of this yet or anything, but I saw your email, and I go, well, yeah, obviously I saw the earthquake from yesterday taken into account, but that quake was caused by what triggered that quake was not waves coming this direction from Fiji because of large earthquake events. That event was definitely caused. So, yeah, so the way that this time is happening, going back in time. You see how it's moving away and converging in. It looks like our wave is getting ready to converge anytime. So it looks like that larger quake up in the elbow position right there. I'm taking everything into account. This is what I do every day. Right here. You can see. So if we go back to, let's put this back on 30 days. And let's change the feed. And let's go back to 30 days. And they're both large magnitude earthquakes. Well, we can go 30-day. Well, we'll see a better pattern if we do these. Right here. 30 days for everything above 2.5. Now let's take this, let's go all the way back from the beginning and take this back. Because there's our recent quake right there. Go all the way back to 0. I think it's a little bit bigger. And then go back in time. Okay, that's the recent activity. This came first, that came second. And then keep going back. Now you can see where we got popped last time. Up here. I was telling you guys that the elbow position of Q2 was the one that was going to get popped. Now we're seeing it over here. So for the last 30 days, that's a lot of activity to try and see through. You can see all the deep quakes that we had under Fiji. But let's see how many of those have happened recently. Because this is 30 days, right? Look at all the deep earthquake events under Fiji. And Japan, sending energy out along corridor 3. But watch this right here as we go backwards in time. Those are the older quakes. So we're halfway down, and we still have quite a few, right? But what happens whenever we go down? We've only had 2 in the last week. Whenever the previous 3 weeks had this. Previous 3 weeks in the last week. So what that looks like is all the energy was pushed to the terminal ends of the buoyancy barrier corridors. But then, whenever they all are coming back together, then the waves coming this way, the waves coming this way, then it increases the pressure. So imagine that you have the deep earthquake events and then the energy leaves. That creates a decompressed environment right here. The reason is because you get the explosions, and then it's like the center of the epicenter of an explosion. It explodes, yeah, it's high pressure, intense heat, but then the wave goes away. Then what you have right there is a neutral environment. once the energy leaves, neutral environment. So the wave goes away and you have a neutral environment, and that creates the opportunity because it's a lower pressure than the surrounding environment. So that's why we get hit by Fiji all the time. But now that all the waves are coming back at the same time, then momentum is going this way. The momentum, so there's a leading edge to this giant wave, but there's a pile up that's happening inside the corridor as it's coming through. So that leading edge is compressing this material. Remember, all the corridors come together right here. They all come together right here. So the pressure coming down, the pressure coming across is increasing the pressure at the openings of all these corridors, and it's creating an environment of high pressure before the wave gets there. Because there's a push coming from all directions. And that's why we're high pressure. Elevate the pressure that's down there, and these quakes don't want to happen. So there's a happy place. It has to do with pressure. Pressure's building right here, so it looks like that the big quake is getting ready to pop right where I was pointing. So it's just taking a little more time. The reason I'm thinking is because these buoyancy barrier corridors were narrower. 2016 and 17, they were narrower. So if I pull up that, I don't have it pulled up. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you. Let's go here. And really, this diagram here would be the best one to show it. Right here. So, you know, quarter 2 has been, I mean, it runs from the origination zone up here and goes out like this. But you see the width of this guy right here? The width, the depth of the corridor itself has been expanding since the mantle plume connection was made. Mantle plume connection's made. So, remember we had the one quake, the week there stood still? This entire formation expanded at the same time. Well, that created a bigger diameter for the corridors. So the energy goes up, you have expansion. It takes it longer for the wave. This is like a pipe. So if you have this constant flow, the same amount of flow of water coming through a narrow pipe, it comes out really, really fast. Like a sprayer on the end of a hose. It comes out really, really fast. If you take off the sprayer and you make the same amount of water that goes through that water hose, make the same amount of water go through that fire hose, that's way bigger, you're going to have to get from this over here to over here is going to take longer. That's what's happening here. So yeah, we got the hit and the waves coming across, but because the corridor is wider, it has more volume here. So it's taken longer for the wave to get there. The same thing with the other corridors. And 4 was not this developed in 2016 and 17. So we got the mantle plume connection. We're getting these mantle plume connections made, and it's the same thing's happening here that's happening with Galapagos, pushing 2B up there. So the energy, instead of going back here and reverberating back 2017 and going here and reverberating back the rebound, going back to the origination zone, now the corridor is much longer. Much longer. One was over here back in 2016. Now the energy has to go all the way to this terminal end, pushed down by Iceland, and look, it appears to be doing that right now. So when you look at Earthquake 3D, Iceland region is very important to this because I'm going to get this back on the 7-day. It's too much data there. Let's go back to the 7-day, 7-day, right here. Because I want to show you the activity near the terminal end of quarter 1. Come on. There we go. Okay. You see this activity near the end of quarter 1? I really didn't expect this. It means that just like from this map over here, see this is 1. See, Iceland was right here. We popped at Iceland with that 6.8. This is what we got popped right here with a 6.8. This is what we got popped up here with a 6.8. Because energy was going from the origination zone to the terminal ends. And then we got popped at Sandwich Island on 4. Bam, bam, bam was 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Then we got popped at 4. Well, this terminal end is pushed further south now. It's in this region where there's a convergence zone in the Atlantic. That's why you have this activity right here. Now we want to look at the time differentials on these guys. Okay, if we start up here, we're going back in time. So the first one you see is going to be the last quake. See how the last quake struck at the bottom? Terminal end is pushed further. Now watch. See how the next one struck? We're looking at a wave that's coming from the origination zone that's striking the terminal end and testing it. So then the next one. See the pattern? So now that's the older quake. So the wave came through here, popped up that horn, came through here, popped up that horn, and then it pushes against the terminal end, then it wants to go back. The one that struck before that, down here in this right here is a convergence zone of 3, 1, 2, and 4 that's pushing underneath. I'm interested in this Iceland. Because the terminal end that was up here is now down here. Going back to the time a little bit further. You see this? These guys, they popped off behind it, you see? So you can almost see the wave coming down this direction. Pow, 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 pow. In consecutive order. The older quake struck right here. So you would think that one pop up here. This horn just got popped up sooner. Notice they're all at the 10-kilometer depth. The horn's being pushed up from underneath, pressurizing the end of the terminal end of corridor 1 right here. And then, so it's popping them up as it's coming in, and then you get the expansion down here at the end. It's just like a freight train coming in there. And then this end expands, it pushes a little further, and it grows, 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 and then there's a equalization. And what we're talking about is inside of Earth mantle transition zone. This is pressurized. It's a magma plume arm. So the internal environment of that magma plume arm was pressurized from energy coming up the corridor. And so they pop these horns up. So whenever you look at the coordinates of these quakes, it's going to tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. That's a lot of activity. This is from the same horn. 1. That's from the same horn. These two. Let me go back in time. Yeah, okay, now we're going back in time again. The one at the latest quake was the one at the terminal end, and then these are the ones that followed. I mean, these are the ones that came prior to. So this tells me that the energy got to the end of terminal end is going back. So what we know from the larger picture is that, well, this is one of the narrowest corridors right here. It's longer, but it's skinnier. You can see it on the chart over here. See, it's longer, but it's skinnier. These are the wide ones right here, and 3 is actually assisting with 4. So, since it's the narrowest one, we should expect to see activity at the terminal end last. So, what I showed you before at the convergence of what's happening over here, these are the 2 giant waves. They are moving more slowly. This wave is going to be the quickest one. It's going to come through this narrow pipe much more rapidly. So what we're looking for is signs that the Earth is telling us that these waves are all going to get there at the same time. So since we just got popped here, we're going to, you see all the activity at the end that I'm showing you? All this activity, it's going to vanish. You have all this activity, and then it's going to all vanish. Because the wave is now going back this way, all these horns are going to go back down. So the time differential that it takes for this wave to go snake its way, it cannot, well, it comes along like this and then goes down like this, is the way it looks based on the data. But you have to remember that these corridors aren't exactly along the fault line. The arm's going to push through here, but the horn is going to be pushing up and displacing magma above the transition zone and below the crust, below the magma that supports Earth's crust. So the horn pushes up, and then it displaces the magma, and then it creates this earthquake event at the fault line, nearest to its position. So this doesn't give us an exact picture, but it gives us a good general idea. So this has already been hit, and I'm really interested in knowing the time on this quake right here. And you know, looking at this video, then this is off a little bit. Then maybe I will go ahead and share this with everybody. Okay, so the timing of this is 3/2. That's just today. That's not that long ago. So what this means to me is, if we know the time differential, of course you have to know the magma wave velocity to know. But this gives me some idea of knowing that the terminal end of 1 is tested, and knowing the waves heading back in that direction, and looking at this time differential, right? Looking at this, then now we're going to watch and see how long it takes for that wave, it to get back to the origination zone, because this could be the timing for all the waves to collide at the same time. So the theory is that all that convergence, it has definitely taken place for the last 2 cycles, and that along with that, we're talking about 7.9 Papua, and if I have that, I don't have the newsletter pulled up. Here we go. So this is 7.9, this is 7.5, this is the projected quake. The last 2 cycles, 16, 17, and 18, there's a pattern in there. I mean, there's clearly a pattern. What happened was all the waves came together to create the global tectonic reset event. There wasn't a 7 magnitude quake on the entire planet for 24 weeks after this quake and after this quake. See the larger pattern here. This is if the horn formation down there has pushed the same number of miles, which is like 858 or something. If it strikes, then the next one's going to strike right here. So that's the coordinates. You see where it's hidden right there on the edge of that. That's where my coordinates are. The place where the moon and the sun just passed. It makes me wonder if that didn't initiate some type of the gravitational influence of the sun and the moon crossing this very point right here. It crossed last night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It's now migrating off into here. So I'm wondering if the sun and the moon, the way that they're coming around right now, if you pull up Earthquake 3D, you'll see the where this is. You see these little islands. You see it's right along this this line that's right here. Pull up Earthquake 3D again. Go over here. So I told you about what's happening there at the terminal end of quarter 1. Seems to me that that energy is racing like a freight train, the fastest one. These are the turtles. That's the rabbit. When that rabbit gets back down here now, and studying the time differentials from doing this previously, then that was between, say, 3 and 4 days to get from here to here to the end of terminal 1. It's a little bit longer now, but look at all the activity. This is very powerful. This is a very powerful wave. So look at the magnitudes. Yeah, well, they're not 5.1s. They're whenever you go to time and see the last one to pop off, you see it's the one that's furthest away from the origination zone. It's the furthest one away, and then you can see going back in time how they came from this direction. They came from this direction and pushed down there, and now the wave's already on the way back. So it's coming back this way, and the time that it takes to come down this corridor and get to New Guinea, I think, is whenever the big quake is going to strike. So that's what I was saying, and maybe my window's not. See, we're on the 2nd. Maybe my window is not wide enough on the back, because the 2017 number was used, 2017, but now the magma plume is way bigger. The mantle plume connection was made at May of 2018. So the terminal end, especially quarter 4, quarter 2B, they're way bigger. And this activity that I'm seeing right here at the terminal end, I expected to see sooner, but it just happened. So that appears to be what's going to govern the amount of time. Whenever that wave, it's already had the compression at the terminal end, and then everything neutralized, and then the whole thing started going back in this direction. That's what I'm looking. That's what I'm looking at. I was going to show you something else down here. I came down here, now it's escaped me. But there was something else I was going to share with you there. But okay. So, oh yeah, the thing that I wanted to show you is the moon and the sun orientation. The way that it's flying right through here. See, right now it's even further higher. It's even higher. It came right through here. It came right across my position, and now it's migrating back over in this direction right here. Just wondering if the Earth and the moon, the sun and the moon, isn't playing a role in what's happening here. It seems out of everywhere on the planet for them to cross at 9 o'clock last night, that they crossed right here on the edge of what looks like formation there. Which it is a formation. I mean, we can see it's a formation. But, it looks kind of like a dolphin, doesn't it? The nose looks like it's heading out this way. It almost looks like something giant a long, long, long time ago pushed, crashed and slid right there, and then everything went around it. Of course, that's my imagination. So here is where we're looking at Earthquake 3D. And I was off a little bit in looking at the larger image. Then I was placing my marker there. My marker is actually right here, right on the edge where this formation is. The interesting thing for me is that, see, this is -2. Look at the elevations. And then look, this is a really deep, this is real deep right here. So this is more than a mile down. Holy cow. 10,000? Way more. 20,000. It's 2 miles from the top of here down to here. 2 miles tall. Right here. Right on the edge of this bad boy. And it just happens to be at the location. And right where the sun and the moon converged right here last night at 9 o'clock. So for me, just looking at the background information to this is pretty interesting. What's going on right now? So I wanted to share that with you. Yeah, I'm aware of the quake at the elbow position of 2. Again, we got hit there. And on a side note, just what's kind of going on in my mind. Because this was the chosen area of activity of quarter 2. Because when the waves that come down, they hit against this elbow and go across. Just like Mexico was hit last year at this elbow position. Well, north of the elbow position, but... So anyway, yeah, we're taking into and considering this, but this here deep 5.5 looks like it's what triggered this. This is going to be the extra quake. If I pull it up 2015, you're going to find 8 quakes in the 7 quake series too. I'm going to go right now and see where that extra quake came in and see if there's a deep earthquake event that's next to one of them that struck just hours before. I'm going to go hunt that down right now. So yeah, I wanted to make a little personal video. I wasn't even going to upload it. This is going to process it and just send a copy of it to Bonnie. But now I want to share the information with everybody. That's what's on my mind right now. It looks like that this is just going to take a little longer. It looks like it could even be beyond my window on the 4th, but we're going to see. So get more information at the website. Didn't even pull up the information on the website for you guys, but you guys know where I am over at Terral03.com. Appreciate your support very, very much. See you on the next special report.
If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.